Okay, so in this video, we're going to take a tour of Education Frameworks. Education Framework is a part of ClassLink and is included in the applications that the district has purchased and made available for teachers. So anytime a teacher wants to use an application that falls outside of the district provided applications, those district provided applications is a large list, but it includes things like Google Drive, It's Learning, BrainPop, Discovery Ed, Destiny, Pearson, Myon, all those types of applications we have already vetted. So anything that comes from the district and is pushed out to schools or purchased for schools, as a district, we have already taken the time to research these apps on Education Framework. Education Framework is good for a teacher to use when they find an application that falls outside of what the district provides that they would like to use within their classroom. So when that happens, we do want teachers and schools, if it's a school level purchase, to take a look at the applicational Education Framework. So let's jump in. Education Framework is located on the ClassLink dashboard for all staff members in Forsyth County Schools. The icon is right here, titled Education Frameworks. So a teacher would come here and launch that application. Okay, so now we are on the Education Framework dashboard. So when you look at this, there's a few different options and links, but the main place that a teacher would go is to go to search for apps/vendors right here on the right hand side of the page. And when they click that, they'll be taken to a screen where they have access to a number of items. So let's take a quick tour of this screen. So this screen is titled the Privacy Quality Scores area. And so here you have the ability to enter the name of an app to search for that you want to see if it passes student data privacy regulations that are applicable to the state of Georgia and to Forsyth County Schools, and also any federal regulations that are out there. Below that, you have a library of about it's 8,600 items that are here that Education Frameworks has went in and already rated for us to be able to see. So, and then over here on the right, you also have the score for whatever active app is showing up. So right now we're looking at KidBlog. You can see they have a privacy quality score of 4.5. And then this right here is the key phrase that we're looking at. We want to know if, as the school, can we grant consent on behalf of parents for students under the age of 13. If we can, the app is good to use and requires no further action on your part. We receive consent from the parents through directory information when they sign the parent and student handbook at the beginning of the school year. So let's do a couple example searches just so you can take a look at how this works. So first, I'm going to search for Microsoft Office 365, which is something the district provides. I'll type in the name of that. If it's already in the app library, you saw the drop down there just a minute ago where the drop down comes up and you can search for that application name. And so now I'm searching for that app and I see that right here it is. It has a good quality score, and even though it has a good quality score, I always want to come down below here and read this statement that says a school may grant consent on behalf of parents for students under the age of 13 only if parents have agreed that the school district may act as a parent's agent in the consent process. So if you see this, then we're good to go. It has some green check marks as well as some red X's. These would be areas of concerns of maybe why it didn't score a 5.0. Okay, so there's one example. Let's take a look at additional example of Discovery Education. Discovery Education is another thing that we purchase and use as a district that is provisioned from the district level. It has a privacy score of 4, and you notice there are red check marks down here. That's not a deal breaker for this particular one, and you can see that if parents have agreed that the school may act as the parent's agent in the consent process, the school may consent on behalf of the parents. So again, we're good to go with Discovery Education. Now let's take a look at one that is not approved. So I'm going to search for PictoChart. And I can see here that when I search for that, I can see that the district administrators have already rejected a request to use this resource. And I see that has a privacy quality score of 3. And this is the key statement right here. The school district cannot grant consent on behalf of the parents for this app. The app operator must obtain consent directly from the parents. So when you see this, that's the red flag, is that we cannot, as a district, grant consent from the parents. And you can see there's more than red X here, and particularly 2 very concerning ones, which make this something, an app that we cannot consent for. So when that happens, you have a couple of different options. Number 1, as a teacher, you can request improvements directly from the vendor. So if I click this button, I will get a pop-up and it will tell me an email will be sent to the vendor from Education Frameworks on your behalf requesting improvements from the website or app operator. If I click yes, Education Framework will notify the vendor that I am requesting improvements so that I can use it with my students. So you as a teacher could do that. A second thing that you as the teacher could do is you could contact the Forsyth County Schools Technology Department. We will happily reach out to the vendor if it's something that you're looking to purchase or your school is looking to purchase, and we will work with the vendor directly to share our concerns and see if they will be willing to change their privacy policy. The good news is that if we're looking to purchase something, we have had good luck so far with vendors and applications actually changing their privacy policy and terms of service so they can earn our business and earn our a subscription from the school or the district. So we are happy to advocate on behalf of you if you feel like the app has great educational value and it's something that you would like to use. If it's a free app, sometimes we have less success in working with those vendors for it to be able to be used because they're not trying to sell us something, and sometimes we have very little leverage in that instance. So you can request improvements, you can help work with the technology department, and we'll be happy to reach out to the vendor. But the third option is probably the one that you're going to use most, and that is to use a parent permission form to obtain consent from the parents. So I'm going to pull that out for you right now, and it looks like this. It's just something that you would insert your school's letterhead, type in the website name, type in the website purpose, what you're going to use it for. There's some legal words here, legal laws and stuff, SIPA, COPPA, and FERPA, that can just stay on there. And then down here, you would put a website URL and link to their privacy policy and terms of agreement. And you'd put your teacher's name and contact information and then sign it. And then the parent would return the second page to either yes, give permission for their child to enhance their learning experience, or no, they do not. So if you had a site that you wanted to use that did not meet our requirement on Education Frameworks, you can always come here, you can print this off, send it home for a single site, or you can put a page on top of this with multiple sites that you want to use, as long as you have the app name and as long as you have every single privacy policy and terms of service listed. If you need additional guidance or have questions about that, please see your ITS or your school's administration to help walk you through this process. But even if something does not pass Education Frameworks, you do have this option to obtain direct parental consent to be able to use the application. So the final thing we'll take a look at here in Education Framework is what happens if you search for an app that Education Framework has not rated. So let's say here, and let's say I'm searching for a great education app. Nothing comes up, and I click search. And again, nothing comes up. But what I do see is Education Framework says app not found. The app you searched has not been assessed yet. Would you like to order a privacy assessment for this app? It pre-inserts your email address right here, and you can click yes. And then you get a second screen that wants you to provide a link to, or the link to the site. And then you can select either all platforms, web-based, iOS or Android. Most things will be all platforms. That you can go ahead and check that. And then when you click Submit Info, it'll send this information to Education Frameworks. Usually within 24 hours, we get a response saying whether the site can be used or not be used. So that concludes our tour and our walkthrough of what you would use Education Frameworks for. I would encourage you to go ahead, log in the class link, open up Education Frameworks and take a look at some of the apps that you use in your classroom. Take a look at some of the apps that we use as a district. Take a look at some of the apps maybe you want to use this year or next year within your classroom and see how they're rated. Again, if you have any questions about Education Frameworks or need additional assistance, please do not hesitate to reach out to your instructional technology specialist or your administration at your school. Both will be able to assist you, and if they can't assist you, they'll make sure to get you to a person who can. So now that you've viewed this short tour of Education Frameworks and kind of followed along with how to search for apps, you're now going to be taking a short quiz to conclude this learning path to ensure that you are prepared to use Education Frameworks in your classroom and that we make sure that student data privacy is protected in Forsyth County.